All right, y'all, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business today. We're going to see for its local search, Haymarket, Virginia looks like, and for its city search, let's see if it has BSS for either of them. Then we're back in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. Our North Star, as always, is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that pinned video, pinned post, home video, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our FSIC graph in white down here. Highest intent people on the left is people using social search, Google search, searching for a boudoir photographer in their or boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. And as a result, they're we talk about them, BSS videos here. Over on the right, we got the lowest intent peeps. Talk about dealing with these or reaching these peeps on our sister channel, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS. And over there, we currently only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand per month in boudoir Facebook ads. Now, boudoir search sameness is BSS. Means a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots, page 1 on Google. 0 slots, page 1, we cannot have that. We're dying a fast death here because that means we're on page 2 or deeper. The reason that matters is we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. That's right, they're one and done only. They're page 1 and done only searches. So for our page 2 or deeper, we're visible to approximately 80% of the market, so the bulk of the market. 1 slot on page 1 is also not good enough. Everyone on page 1's got 1 slot. So, it's us and most likely 9 other boudoir photographers. We're looking the same, we're not standing out. So what a boudoir photographer is doing is they're actually clicking, everyone's link, open up everyone's website, every contact form, every whatever submission form, getting a quote, comparing prices, waiting, negotiating, why should they buy now, trying to get the most for the least, just wasting everyone's time. And most of these contact forms for don't even convert anyway, so just waste. So business dies slowly in this case, if only having 1 slot, page 1 Google search. And 0 1 slots, page 1 Google is actually not normal. It's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. That's common, it's accepted to have 0 1 slots, page 1 Google search, but it's not normal. Now these 2 deeper root causes are market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. Market saturation, yeah, basically everyone knows about this one. More peeps joining, basically peeps kind of naturally upgrade their gear over time, new iPhone, new camera. And as they get new gear, they're actually throwing up their Google My Business profile saying they shoot boudoir, throwing up their website saying they're a boudoir photographer. They are, increasing basically the amount of times they post in the mom groups on Facebook saying they offer boudoir photo shoots. So all this is more sellers, more boudoir photographers for the same number of buyers, makes it harder for every other boudoir photographer in the market. This is market saturation. Then we have false belief, page 1 equality. Yeah, very few peeps know about this one. This is kind of like boudoir photographers naturally assumed that, they basically naturally assumed that each boudoir photographer gets, kind of just gets 0 1 slots, page 1 on Google, and that's how it is. Maybe they had their page 1 slot 7. That's how market saturation happened. Now they're, page 2 slot 2. I'm like, oh well, that's simply what it is. Hopefully those people delete their websites so Google can bring us back up onto page 1. But no, this is the 100% incorrect mindset to have, this kind of a wait and see mindset. 100% wrong. What's actually true is Google will give us as many page 1 slots on Google search for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords as we want, or as we put in the effort to acquire. AKA we actually show Google we want. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 to Google search in only 10 days. This new methodology we developed. So I know for a fact the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. We also know the boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. And remember BSS, 0 1 slots, page 1 Google search for page 2 or deeper. I mean, we're dying a fast death. We're disappearing there for page 1 1 slot. We're dying a slow death. Both cases, we're disappearing boudoir photographer. And what actually happens is this kind of warning light, the warning flag, the check engine light, the canary in the coal mine that's telling us, hey, our boudoir photography business itself is now on the path to disappearing. But thankfully, we now have a solution. We've actually discovered that BSS, Boudoir Search Sameness, 0, 1 slots, page 1 Google search, is treated with social search saturation, aka SQ's methodology. And it works exactly like it says, social search saturation. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, so we show up there. And when we do this, it's kind of like the snow at the top of the Andes Mountains down there in South America, the eastern side, the backside of those mountains, where what happens is that snow melts, water drains into small streams, small rivers, and eventually it all flows, gets collected in the large Amazon River. Now, that is large Amazon River is page 1 Google search. That's exactly what it is. And we actually, so it all starts with the snow at the top of the Andes Mountains, because that all starts with the inputs. That's key methodology. We gotta get the snow up there first for it to then melt and actually, flow into the large Amazon River. Now, SQ methodology, it's the only solution I've seen that actually allows boudoir photographers to have a chance to still grow their business in the presence of massive market saturation. And in a relatively quick, give them that opportunity in a relatively quick time frame. And the largest, kind of the only other solution I've seen that gives that same benefit, but not in a relatively quick time frame, is actually having a large, well-known brand. But again, dude, that takes like 5 to 10 years. We ain't got 5 to 10 years, dude. AI's here, taking people's jobs. We don't have 5 to 10 years to build a brand. What's interesting is SQ methodology, with my estimates, actually enables with the photographer to build a large, well-known brand approximately 8x faster than standard methods, because we're seeing across so many different surfaces with much higher volume, much higher frequency, reaching much more of the highest intent people. And as a result, my estimate is, building that brand 8x faster to make market saturation matter even less. All right, so now an example. We are now going to, this will be a good one. We're now going to Bend, Oregon. And there's 1 million boudoir photographers there. And we are one of them. Everyone's got their websites and they offer boudoir photography. So it means page 1 Google search, ultra competitive with 1 million websites trying to rank there. And so we're like, all right, we ain't got no brand. We ain't got no time to create a brand. And so the only chance of us competing here is we actually got to be the first ones in our city to utilize S-Cube methodology. And as a result, let's say we crank it up to the max, like kind of way above anything the average boudoir photographer would do with S-Cube methodology. And let's say we're taking up the first 300 slots for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords across all of social search. And let's say that flows then onto Google. We're taking up the first 300 slots on Google for this highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. And it's 10 organic slots per page Google search. So dude, we're taking up like the first 30 pages. So guess what? If a boudoir buyer is searching for basically if a boudoir buyer is searching for a boudoir photo shoot in their city, and as a result, they're looking on different, social media searches and Google searches, we're basically the only one they can find. We're taking basically the first 300 slots everywhere. So they can't really find any competing boudoir photographers. So they basically hit slot 301. That's page 31 on Google. I already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. So dude, who the heck's hitting page 31? Basically no one. So if we're essentially the only person they can find, the only boudoir photographer they can find, whose business is still growing in this market? Most likely ours. Whose business is dying, vanishing, going away, becoming invisible in this market? Most likely the other 999,999 other boudoir photographers. And so this is an example of what S-Cube methodology could enable for a boudoir photography business in an ultra-saturated market. Now, once you're with S-Cube methodology, we now have page 1 visibility, P1V. Initial benefits, we're getting more slots to page 1 Google search, but interestingly, every new slot we get page 1 Google search, we're actually kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page 1, effectively making them invisible. Basically get to choose how many of our competitors go to page 2 and deeper, which means they're invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. So a lot of boudoir photographers actually really like this initial benefit. And page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. And this is where the GBC universe recommends having, hitting the 3 out of 10 minimum for page one Google search. So hitting a minimum of 3 out of 10 slots. Because when we have that, basically every other boudoir photographer on page one will have 1 slot, but we'll have 3, so we'll be dominating them. In the ultra rare case, someone else has 2 slots. Well, again, we got 3 slots, so we're still ultra dominating. We're still dominating them. And a boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So we got a disappearing boudoir. This is our micro universe here. We got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness, which is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. Thankfully, we have discovered a solution, S cubed methodology. We achieve page one visibility. We become visible boudoir photographers with boudoir search visibility. All right, now it's my results here. I'm going to dominate Google page one for the keyword BLCS boudoir. So what I did was started using S cubed methodology, and let's see the results. So slot 1, we're getting slot 1 Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. So literally going from 0 out of 10 slots, page one Google search, to 9 out of 10 slots, page one Google search, in only 10 days, exclusively using S cubed methodology. All right, now onto our main event. We got, we're gonna see if this boudoir photography business, we're gonna see if for its local and for its city searches, see if it has, basically see if it has, copy that. Basically, we're gonna see if it has BSS for these searches. All right, so here we go. We got our local search here, Haymarket, Virginia. So going down to the organics. All right, boom, we got 1. Boom, we got 2. Boom, we got 3. Let's see. Those don't count. And boom, we got 4. Boom, we got 5. Boom, we got 6. All right, so dude, awesome. This is really good. So we do not have BSS with this local search, and also we have achieved the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 Google page one slots. So really good for local. Then we're gonna look at the DMV, the city search. So let's see what we got here. Now DMV is kind of like a region, so actually gonna be more competitive than the standard city search. All right, we got 0 out of 10, but it's, yeah, it's even harder to rank for than the standard city search. So 0 out of 10. So yeah, we do got BSS for the the city or region search here, DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia, and we're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots for that one, but that's a way harder one to rank for. So if you're a boudoir photographer and you've got BSS boudoir search sameness for your own business, you're seeing the market's getting more and more saturated over time, and you feel like you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, or gonna become disappearing, because of what we'll talk about in like 10 seconds. And you also see that the page one equality is a false belief, like everyone kind of automatically accepted because there was no like word to describe it, to say, hey, I believe this is true or not true, but now we got a word to describe it. And you're seeing the way AI is creeping in, more and more people being laid off, which, what was the last time that happened? COVID, what happened? Massive influx of boudoir photographers, massive influx, massive supply, all fighting for the same eyeball, approximately the same number of buyers. So it's getting harder and harder for each boudoir photographer that enters the market. And you're saying, okay, it looks like I do need the S cubed methodology to kind of preempt or prepare myself for AI pushing more boudoir photographers into the market, which means there's going to be more competition for page one on Google search. But if I can preempt that, get there already, and it's probably already happening right now as we speak, then we can be prepared to not become a disappearing boudoir photographer. We can achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer, even though more are probably going to be joining, and achieve boudoir search visibility, and get the extra bonuses on the back end where kind of the more these thematic keyword columns are attached to our brand throughout social, things like that, social search, and the higher chance we show up in, AI overview search here at the top of Google searches, and the higher chance we show up among AI search in general, ChatGPT search, Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search, Claude search, Perplexity search, whoever. When we have these like thematic keyword pillars entwined with us across all our social channels, ranking on Google, this is where the AIs pull from. So we're increasing the probability to show up in all these searches as a back-end benefit. And we're also noticing that if someone else starts using S-cubed methodology for their boudoir photography business before us in our city, all those front-end benefits, page one Google, kicking competitors off could happen to us. And those back-end benefits, them showing up in AI search instead of us. And then, well, you wouldn't be able to work with me because I'm only working with one person per city. So you'd have to figure out S-cubed methodology on your own and then implement it all on your own. And you'd have to actually meet the work output of the other boudoir photographer using it in conjunction with me and exceed us to catch up and overtake us before we overtake page one on Google, kind of push it as far as we want to. And so you've decided, all right, it's better to simply be a first mover because you need this on your way to becoming the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. So if that's you, shoot me a DM when I open up for new patient intake. Right now the hospital's closed. My DMs are closed. Cannot get in even if you wanted to. But shoot me a DM for when I do open up the doors. And we'll see if you qualify. We gotta have some questions. Gotta make sure I'm not working with anyone else in your city. And yeah, we'll see if you qualify.